Okay, hi folks. Special greetings to you inside Toronto in Canada. You're welcome. Today, I want us to have an interesting discussion on how we can just use the little we are having, the existing qualification we have now, to be able to pursue international education in certain countries that we might not focus our attention, or we might not even be willing to study there, or we don't necessarily know the significance of studying in such countries. You're welcome. Call a friend to also call a friend that the discussion has just begun. Now, let me first start by talking about those who have senior high school certificate. If you are a teacher, I want you to share this information with your students, especially those who are writing their, if you are in Ghana and you are a teacher, please share this information with your students who are currently writing their West African senior school certificate examination. Graduates from senior high school can actually study in US for their undergraduate programs on fully funded scholarships. Now, there are two requirements that you need to meet. The first requirement is that you need to sit for your SAT, that is Scholastic Aptitude Test. There are exam centers in Accra, there are study centers in Accra or Ghana. I know in Nigeria, wherever you are watching me from, that you can actually sit for this exam. Make sure you have high scores. Your scores should be very high. Once you've been able to score higher scores, there is a higher probability of getting a fully funded scholarship to study your bachelor's degree in US. Now, some of the schools will ask you to do credential evaluation for your WASSCE certificate. So once you've been able to do credential evaluation for your WASSCE certificate and you've been able to sit for the SAT exam, you've been able to score higher marks, you just apply to these schools. You're actually going to get admission to be able to study your fully funded programs or your fully funded education in US. It's so easy, it's simple, it's something that you can actually do if you are somebody who wants to have a different field of education in developed country like US. Now, if you are someone who has a bachelor's degree, maybe for just 2 years, your bachelor's degree is a 2-year program, or your bachelor's degree is 2.5 years. You know, for Canada, most schools or all schools will want your bachelor's degree to be a minimum of 3 years. So if your bachelor's degree is just 2-year program or 2.5-year program, you can actually study your master's in your master's program in US and possibly get a fully funded or some form of a partial funding. What you need to do is to just do credential evaluation for the United States. I've posted lists of some schools in the US on the page. You can do that, go to those schools. Most of the schools will want you to do credential evaluation. Once you've done the credential evaluation, one of the things that the credential evaluation do is that it will increase your CGPA. It increases your CGPA, and it will, most especially for those who have had maybe diploma and they've done a top up on the diploma, the West will be able to compare your diploma and the degree you have had in Ghana to just say that your undergraduate program in Ghana is actually a 4-year program. Your CGPA will also go up. You'll be able to get some level of or some form of funding in United States of America. What are we doing? We are only trying to use international education as a way of changing our lives, as a way of personally developing ourselves, as a way of having that exposure, then we can now begin to pursue our dreams. Now, let me now move on and talk about those of us who are coming from less privileged communities, those of us who don't have money, those of us who have tried other things and we fail, and we are now stuck in one corner, finding it so difficult to bounce back. Now, mostly, one basic rule about life is that you can always use what you have to get what you can afford. Now, you use what you can afford to now get what you want or what you need. Can I take that again? What you have, you use that to get what you can afford. Then you use what you can afford to get what you need or what you want. You get that? Now, why am I saying this? If you are somebody who doesn't have money, but you desire to study at the international level, you are somebody who is coming from, let me just say, poor family, and you want to turn things around, just use what you have now to get what you can afford. The reason why I'm saying this is that international education in certain countries are kind of expensive. You talk about Canada, you talk about the US, you talk about the UK, you talk about Australia. These are countries that almost everybody wants to study in these countries. But the reality is that even getting visa to these countries sometimes is a bit challenging. The tuition fee in these countries are expensive. So the only thing you can do is that you have some little money somewhere. You can afford some 20,000, can afford some 10,000, can afford some 15,000. Why don't you use that little that you are having to pursue international education in countries that have lower tuition, or countries that have free tuition, countries that are their immigration rules in terms of visa is so easy, it's just straightforward? Why can't you just go to those countries and pursue your international education in such countries? Once you've been able to pursue your program in those countries and you've graduated, you can now move from those countries to any of these countries that I have mentioned, in case these are the places that you truly want to study in. So we are just using the little we have. Now, let me just say that international education seems to be so cheap or so affordable and free in most countries, apart from US, Canada, UK, Australia. These countries, international education is a bit expensive. But in certain countries, as an international student, tuition fee is actually free. For example, you want to go to Germany to study for your master's or your PhD. Tuition fee in Germany is actually free. It is free. So you don't have to bother about how or what do I have to do to be able to pay my tuition fee. No. So you should just focus on, one, getting admission to that country. I'll talk about the visa processes later on as time goes on. The most important thing is to get your admission. Once you've gotten admission, it means that you don't have to think about how I'm going to pay my tuition fee. You see, most programs in Germany are actually free for international, so there's some limited programs that you need to pay. Now, another country is Norway. International students don't pay tuition fee in Norway. It's actually free for domestic and international students. Country like Argentina, international education is free for international students who wants to study in Argentina. These are good countries. These countries actually have good immigration policies that will allow you to even stay in the country when you are done with your school. A country like Finland, international education is not free, but it's affordable. Tuition fees are very minimal. They are low. Just like maybe Prince, who is watching me now, who wants to do his master's or maybe now PhD in Ghana. The tuition fee you may be paying in Ghana for your PhD program, it's just equivalent to you going to study in Finland. Then we have Sweden. Tuition fee is actually low. Finland, Sweden, they actually have scholarship opportunities that they can even give you. So yours is to just research public universities in these countries, submit application to them, and apply for your scholarship. We can also talk about a country like Denmark, a country like Austria, country like France, country like Spain, country like India, country like Poland. These countries that I have mentioned, they actually have low tuition fees for international students. These countries actually have scholarship opportunities for international students. So why can't we make the opportunity to go to these countries to study for our master's or our PhD programs? Should you even go to Austria? In Austria, when you finish your program, you can actually apply for this in a postgraduate permit to work in Austria. If you stay in Austria for 4 years, you can now apply for your permanent residence. All these countries I've mentioned, it's like that. In some of the countries, once you complete your program, there are opportunities for even the government of the country to support you in case you want to set up a business, you want to go to entrepreneurship. And in some of these countries, what you need to do is to just get work after you have graduated. Once you have graduated and you've been able to secure a job, they'll give you work visa to stay and work. Once you've stayed in these countries for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, if you want to move from these countries to Canada, it becomes easier. So you are now using what you have been able to afford to get what you need or what you want. You can move to US, you can move to UK, you can move to Australia. It becomes easy. Even after studying in these countries, if you want to go back to your home country, there is no big deal. But you just need to know that getting a certificate from these countries is actually a way of boosting your skills. It's a way of expanding your reservoir of knowledge. So if you go back to your home country, employers in your country will have some form of confidence in you. They know that you've actually upgraded your skills. You have upgraded your knowledge. You now have the ability to be able to apply the knowledge that you have acquired to be able to solve problems in that particular organization. So this is actually something we can do. You get that? So that is it. So traveling at the international level, it's a systematic process that you need to be very mindful of the steps and the actions that you make. International education is just about making the right decision one after the other. These decisions will actually prepare you to be able to position yourself properly and secure a good job, polish yourself, and become a better version of yourself. Go back and transform the lives of your family. Now, after you have done this, I would want us to pay attention to the visa processes in some of these countries that I have mentioned. The visa processes in certain countries seems to be complicated. As some people may put it in a basic way, it's actually difficult to get visa to certain countries. You need to struggle. You need to go to the top of the mountain to be praying. You need to do 40 days, 40 nights prayers. You need to be calling your pastors to pray for you at night. You need to do a whole lot of things. But getting visa to some of these countries I have mentioned is just straightforward. It's easy. You don't need to struggle at all. For example, when you go to the website of these countries in terms of the visa website of these countries, one of the things that they do is that they list the requirements you need to meet to be able to be issued visa to these countries as an international student. Some of these countries, all you need is get your acceptance letter. For example, you want to go to Germany, you need to get your acceptance letter. get your block account. You need to actually, they will open an account in Germany, transfer the money into that account. That's what they call block account. You have your insurance, and it's straightforward. Getting visa to Germany is actually easy. And in most of these, the websites of these countries, they actually list the various documentation that you need to be able to get visa to study in these countries. Once you have gotten the document, it's easy. You don't need to struggle. You don't need to do this. You don't. No. It's so easy. It's so easy. They've made it so simple for people to actually study in this country. For example, a friend who wanted to go to Belgium to study. On the website of the Belgium embassy, they have actually stated the various documents that you need. All the documents are there. Once you have been able to get all those documents, it means that the probability of getting your visa is around 98%. Unlike in certain countries that they wouldn't even tell you the documents that they need, the documentation, they seem to be silent on the document. And you need to go and pack, I don't know, 10 bags of Ghana must go, put all your documentation into them, put all your documentation into them before you actually apply for visa. The probability of getting the visa is even low. These countries is easy. The application process is straightforward. The documentation is easy. Yours is to meet the eligibility criteria. Get your acceptance letter, get money for your block account, get your insurance. You are good to go. Some of them, you just need to get some bank statement to prove that this is the money I'll be using to pay for my living expenses, because tuition fee is already low. So if you only need to demonstrate that you can afford your living expenses in the country, then what again? Tuition is low. So what do you have to bother about? Some of these countries, you can actually work as you are studying. So once you are working, you are getting something to live on. So easy, so simple. That is it. Now, another thing that I would want us to talk about or to think about through these processes of using what we have to get what we can afford is scholarships. We need to know that some of these countries, there are university-specific scholarships that we can apply to. University-specific scholarships are those scholarships that have been secured. The funding has been secured by your department. There are funding secured by the university. Once you have applied for the admission, they will ask you to apply for the scholarship as well. Some of them, you don't even need to apply for scholarships separately from applying for your admission. So you've applied for admission. Once they've considered you and giving you admission, they will consider you for, what is this? They will consider you for scholarship as well. Those are university-specific scholarships. Now, there are other forms of scholarships that are external, like masterclass scholarship, that scholarship, Erasmus scholarship. These are external scholarships that you need to apply to these scholarship institutions, go through the processes differently. And in most cases, the funding amount for external scholarships seems to be higher as compared to these universities specific scholarships. So these are things that you just need to figure out. So as low as somebody having 20,000, 15,000, you can actually begin the process. As you go through the process, you'll be working your financial ways out. So it's actually not so difficult, not so expensive to study in certain countries as compared to some of these countries that we know. So let's just try to use what we have now, the little money you are having. Wow. I don't know why. Okay. Sorry. So just using the little that you are having now to pursue what you can afford. I know someone who went to India to study for her master's. Now she's in the US doing her PhD. Have you seen it? She's been able to study in India, a country that has a lower tuition fee. They have lower tuition fee, very low. Getting admission to study in India is easy. The visa processes are not so complicated. She went to India, bagged her master's, now she's in the US. It's just being so smart about how we do some of these things. Rather than trying to kill yourself, saying that you want to go to country A, you want to go to country B, they are refusing you visa, you are crying, you keep pushing money, you keep pushing. See, immigration process of traveling overseas, the process can be financially intensive. And once they keep refusing you visa, that is how your financial situations will begin to drop. You will be messing up your financial situation. And if you are not careful, opportunities will now come and be staring at you. You may not have money to pursue it. You get that? Let me see if there are questions. Okay, Governor, thank you. So that is it. Let's try to do that to better ourselves. See, if you realize that the content I've just shared with you is so engaging, why not share it to bless somebody? Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.